Matt, you do a really good job of explaining what's happening so that way people can understand it. And I haven't spent a ton of time on your YouTube channel, but I can see how, just breaking it down for the average person or for the farmer who's experiencing something similar and needs an idea or whatever. So,
beginning, Kelly and I always kind of felt that it was one of our callings in life to share what we do on the farm with the general public, because there is such a misconception about what goes on and the practices that we use and everything. And, that was our first original goal, was to educate the general public, hey, we're not trying to kill you. Hey, we do care about the environment. We're doing the best job that we can.
This is Ragan and Massey's Farms of America podcast. This season, we invite each family featured on Farms of America docuseries to talk about farming, their experience on the show, and what's new on the farm. This is Griggs Farms, a fifth-generation Tennessee century farm.
They tell us to, or at least a lot of people say, and Paige has even said it, that being a kid who was raised on a farm, you have more job opportunities and opportunities to actually excel, because they look at you like, wow, they've grown up on a farm. They have a work ethic.
Ragan and Massey's Farms of America podcast, brought to you by Ragan and Massey. Griggs.
Whoa, that beard.
Hey, guys.
That's awesome. How are you guys?
The beard catch you off guard?
Yeah. Didn't recognize it.
It's winter. Oh. This is what happens.
How are you guys doing?
Good. How about you?
Good. This is Nicole, Matt. So easy there. Nice to meet you guys. And
thanks for hopping on this morning. Appreciate it.
Glad to be here.
Yeah. Should we catch up on all things Griggs Farms with you?
Sure. Let's go.
Okay, cool. What's going on today? You guys, if you weren't hanging out with us for a little bit, what would you be working on? What's the important stuff going on at the farm right now?
Well, it's the month of December, and, for the last 6 months, we've had one goal, one objective in sight. That's to produce a crop and harvest a crop. And now that the crop is out, it's focus on everything we kind of let fall behind the wayside over the course of harvest season, end of year tax planning. We got grain to haul, equipment to clean, equipment to repair, dealers to meet with, seed to order, all that fun stuff that's got to happen before the end of the year.
That's nothing at all. Nothing's going on.
No.
Just a regular day, 8 to 5 job, you know how it is.
There's always a list.
There's a lot more variety probably this time of year, but the list is not any shorter. Yeah. So,
right.
Well, cool. We appreciate you guys making time.
Well, good, bad, the ugly of fall. What was the harvest season like for you guys?
Oh, man.
Well, actually, from a mechanical perspective, harvest actually went pretty smoothly. We didn't have, very many major breakdowns and delays and everything. For the most part, the weather was good for harvest. Unfortunately, there just wasn't a whole lot out there to harvest this year. We had a major drought in July, August, and September. We went about 84 days without any rain right during that critical grain filling period and fruit setting period for cotton. And we had overall the shortest crop we've had since 2007. So you throw that in conjunction with the low commodity prices, it was a pretty tough year.
Yeah. How does, not to get too in the weeds about it, but how does crop insurance work for cotton? How is that measured?
Right. It works the same way for cotton as it does your corn, wheat, and soybeans. You got your historical yields. It's cotton's measured in pounds per acre. Not bushels or anything, but you got your APH, and then you select your guarantee level based on that, whether it's, anywhere from 55% to 85%, just like the other crops. And if you don't meet it, they pay you something. So,
yeah, same thing. Same thing.
Well, I'm going to take us back a little bit, back to when you guys, met and got together and started farming and everything. So I'm curious, Kelly, what were you doing before? How did you, I know how you wound up farming, but what did that transition look like for you? What were you doing before? And then what was that transition like?
I moved to Tennessee in 2001, and it was to have an opportunity to open a restaurant that I worked for. My background is restaurants. So like I grew up in a restaurant. I was running restaurants by the time I was 18. So I had an opportunity to move down here and open one. So I did. So my background is restaurant management, and I opened a Ruby Tuesday and a Red Robin. So I had a 90-hour work week, which was unconventional. And then of course, met him, and he has a 90-hour work week, and we have 2 kids. So, I started doing that. And then on top of my schedule, and then we added a 3rd kid to it. And then, the restaurant industry, it's cut and throat, like basically. Yeah. And because just things weren't going our way, and they were constantly putting me on nights, and I couldn't be doing nights. They wanted me to close because they're like, well, long story short, he couldn't find anybody, and I really hated the position I was in. And so for the better of our kids, because we thought, well, we don't have to pay for daycare now. We can have the little one with us, and the older ones, we don't have to worry about, is he going to have to leave the field to go get them from school because I'm at work? Yep. So it was in 2011 that we decided, all right, well, we'll go to work for each other. And
it's been so she laughs. Famous last words. And then you've been laughing ever since, right, Kelly?
Yeah, I'm laughing ever since. So my background is restaurant management, and I kind of miss it a little bit, but I actually work in the wintertime at a friend's restaurant.
There you go. Get your
and just to make a little bit extra money, and then to kind of get away from the monotony of the farm. And
sure,
when you work and live together 24/7, you kind of need a break. So it's nice to go there.
Good. That's awesome. So you have 3 kids, you mentioned. How old are they now? And do they are they old enough to help out on the farm or anything like that at this point?
So when we got married, Paige was 7 and Nate was 3.
Okay.
And they are 28.
Oh, wow.
One turns 24 next week. And then Carter is 17. So all 3 of them have worked on the farm. The older 2 actually worked when we did Bermuda hay, and they will tell everyone how much they loved the hay process, and we'll tell you how much we hated hay.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah, they
Why did they like it?
I don't know. I think because they had individual jobs, so Paige was able to, rake the hay. When Nate got old enough, he was able to drive the rake as well. So I think that's probably why, is they got each individual jobs and they felt like they were doing something.
Sense of ownership. Yep.
Yeah. And then, our kids have been on the farm since we've been together, and they all have worked every summer. They all have earned their own money. They all bought their own vehicles.
Hey, good job, guys.
That's how we raised them.
Yeah.
Carter works more on the farm just because he's the baby, and he's, of course, the only one home.
Yeah.
And he does know a lot more than the older 2, but that's because he grew up from, us having this little,
right,
the 1666 combine that he was, 4 or 5 weeks old, and we had him in the baby seat, in that combine because we had to be out there. And now the kid's driving a 2012. So it's like, it's kind of weird to be full circle and see, that little kid who used to ride in the little buddy seat now is running equipment and driving the truck. So, but no, it's huge help. Yeah. Paige lives in Chattanooga. She is a youth director for Youth Villages, which is a counseling service for families across the country.
Cool.
Our son, Nate, lives in town. He works for Nissan, and actually is going to make us grandparents in January.
Oh my gosh, congrats.
Good work.
We are adding a new little farmer to the mix.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we have a little boy coming, and he's kind of in denial right now, but won't be in denial when they know in the baby
much longer.
Next chapter. Grandpa Matt.
I know. So Yeah, and Carter's a junior in high school, so he's still trying to figure out what he wants to do.
Sure.
He says he wants to farm, but we'll see about that. So
Yeah. Well, the best way to learn whether or not it's something they want to do, long term for their life, it's a huge commitment. It's, a huge deal to kind of jump into that. So the best way to figure it out is to have to grow up the way he has, right? Is to really have a front row seat to everything and then make that choice for yourself at some point. So that's awesome. Sounds like a pretty cool family, you guys. Congrats on all of it. It's cool our oldest is 11. So it's cool to see, kind of that next, era older than our kids and families that kind of make it through and they do grow up that way and the benefits of that and everything. So, that's really neat. Good for you guys.
Yeah.
I think the benefit too, and they tell us to, or at least a lot of people say and Paige has even said it, that being a kid who was raised on a farm, you have more job opportunities and opportunities to actually excel because they look at you like, wow, they've grown up on a farm. They have a work ethic. They will come to work. They will bust their show out. And when she applied for her job, they actually gave her a higher paying job instead of an entry level because she was a farm kid, because they knew that she was going to work hard and
it's on your resume.
Yeah, so there is an advantage to that, even though they think there's not. There really is. So that's also
It's hard on them growing up sometimes, right? They miss out on some things, or their parents miss out, right, on some things with them. So that's great to hear.
Because we get a lot of part-time help on our farm, neighbor kids or high school kids. And I just got another text yesterday. Hey, can you write a letter of recommendation?
Yep.
So it's not only, your kids or cousins, it's local kids too that work 2 or 3, 5 years for you. And then they're like, hey, can you write a letter for me for my, real life job or whatever you want to call it, your adult job. So, you see that come full circle. So Matt, give me a little insight on, your crop rotation. I'm always curious, we grow quite a few crops as well. What is it? Is it, what follows soybeans or what follows corn? Run through that cover crop process and everything that you do.
We're down here saying south in Tennessee, we got a 3-year rotation, first year corn, followed by cotton. And then as soon as the cotton is planted, we plant wheat as a winter crop, and then follow that with double crop soybeans. And then every 2 out of 3 years when we don't have winter wheat planted, we've got a cover crop growing, in between the cash crops. And then actually this year, for the first time, just due to the, low economics of wheat, not looking too good, we actually introduced another crop that we've never planted before. Is just getting started in this area. And that crop is canola. So,
Wait, what? Canola?
Yeah, we got canola growing on our farm. Bunge and Chevron entered into some kind of deal a couple years ago and have built a huge processing facility down there close to New Orleans, and the canola, and they're wanting to raise a number. I think this year their goal is to get 100,000 acres of canola in the West Kentucky, Southern Illinois, West Tennessee part, and this canola will go strictly towards the production of sustainable aviation fuel from their processing plant there in New Orleans. So, there you go. I have no idea agronomically what canola is going to do, but the economics, if we make average yields, looks significantly better than wheat. I think we figured it up, and we're going to have to average overall like 105 bushels an acre of wheat to equal the same return, net profit is what, say, a 50 bushel canola crop is going to offer us. And
Wow.
We got a lot better chance of making 50 bushel canola than what we do 105 bushel acre wheat.
Yeah. Interesting. No,
So do you need new equipment for that? How does that? No, you don't.
No, the only new thing I had to buy is I had to buy some different plates for my planter, specifically for canola. But other than that, we use the same equipment, combine harvested and everything. Probably going to have to buy a few rolls of duct tape to seal up any leaks on canola, because the seed is absolutely, it's so small, and everybody tells me it will find every crack you got, but no added investment.
We were driving to Nashville. This is 10 years ago, and I saw a field and I didn't know what it was, and it was canola. So yeah, they've kind of been getting that rolling down there, it seems like. So good for you guys once again, just taking the plunge and jumping into something new. And, like you just said,
I'm excited to actually produce a crop that somebody is asking me to plant and wants to buy from me. That's a big deal. Begging the elevator, hey, please take my crop.
Yeah. The end network consumer, or the network of your who you're marketing it to, is always a big deal. So yeah, if someone's asking you to do it, that's usually a good sign. So yeah, well, that's cool. That follows what then? What's canola follow?
Canola will essentially take the place of a winter wheat. However, it has to be planted a lot earlier than wheat, so we're having to adjust our rotation. And the canola that we planted actually comes behind corn. Because it really needs to be planted before the 1st of October. And at that point in time, generally the only thing we have harvested is corn. So right now, that's what it's looking like. We might have to transition some into some really early maturing soybean varieties, put it behind that. I don't think there's any way canola will be able to follow cotton, because cotton is our longest season growing crop, and it typically doesn't come off until around mid-October at the earliest.
So will you have to store the canola and dry it or anything like that, or can you just truck it right out of the field to your customer?
I'll have both options. It's going to a delivery point about 52 miles up the road. So if I need to deliver it out of the field, I can do that. If I want to store it in my grain bins and deliver it later, I can do that also.
Okay, great. Well, it's always cool to hear how we all know what market prices are. We all know what input costs are and what a squeeze is on. But it's cool to hear people being open-minded about new opportunities and taking advantage of something out there, and, not just sitting still and, woe is me. Like, be open, right?
I think the canola could even offer even additional advantages. If you've ever seen a field of canola when it's in full bloom, it's really quite beautiful, and I think we might have the opportunity to sell opportunities for photographers right there around Easter to come out and maybe do some photo shoots with families and whatever, and maybe be able to charge them a little bit of money for that too. So
there you go.
You guys have an entrepreneurial spirit.
Agritourism.
Yeah, which is something that you got to have to stay successful. So that's really cool.
Speaking of that, you guys have been, I don't want to use old dogs, but you guys have been like in the camera world for a long time, right? With, your YouTube channel. Yeah, you thought I was just going to insult them.
I was like, in what way?
You guys are used to this cameras, right? You guys had that video crew. What was that for? They mentioned the episode. They followed you for how long? 7 months?
Before the Farms of America
7
project?
weeks or 7 months? What was that? What was that for?
So we were on the History Channel.
Okay.
It was called, oh wow, why am I blanking?
The American Farm.
The American Farm, wow. I've been sick for the last week, so just like, so that happened in 2018, and actually started in 2017. They had like over 500 farms that applied, and I actually thought I was just applying for like a documentary about, they needed somebody who was 4 generations or higher. So I sent an email, and we went through the process of, interviews after interviews, and they came out in September of 17 to do a pilot. And when they did and they showed up, we didn't realize how big it really was. I just thought it was going to be something, small. And they're like, no, we're the creators from Deadliest Catch. And I was like, oh, okay. Wow. Yeah, they did the pilot. They had a whole bunch of farms they had to choose from. They came back in January of 18 and said, we've picked you and we want to start filming. And they showed up in April, and they didn't leave until November. And it was every single day on the farm.
Those poor camera guys. We were working 70, 80 hours a week a lot of the year. Those camera guys were with us every single hour, and then they had to go back and download footage, skip footage off, format cards. Those guys were putting in probably 90 to 100 hours a week at least for over the course of 8 months. Those guys were some workhorses.
And it aired in 2019, and that's kind of how we got, launched into that I guess, this world. So yeah, like you say, we're like the OGs of it. And unfortunately, COVID just killed everything. It actually worked out in our favor because, you know, with the History Channel, it was a great opportunity because everything that happened on our farm was 100% correct. Even though they tried to push a narrative, you know, I think the funniest one they had was what they called and said, "Can you guys go get a tractor stuck for us? Like, just give us 5 minutes."
Yeah, just be patient, okay?
No, that's awesome. You guys are still heavily, you know, filming every day and editing video and doing that whole process yet, or is how's?
Oh, yeah, I hadn't really started the YouTube. I put out, you know, a couple of videos a year, like harvest videos set to music, just so I could look back years from now and, you know, see what our farm operation looked like. But no, I mean, I started YouTube in, I think, 2016, but I mean, we just put out a couple videos a year. I didn't know anything about video editing and anything like that. But the biggest benefit from the spending 8 months with those camera guys is I got 8 months of free education on how to run a camera, how to set it up, how to get proper angles, how to tell a story, how to put a video together, all that kind of stuff. And it didn't cost me a dime to get that kind of education. And it's really led to me making what I consider to be quality videos. You know, people don't watch our channel for my sparkling personality.
What do you mean?
Nah, don't be so hard on yourself.
You know,
They watch for the beard.
They watch our videos because I make good looking visual videos with good shots, and I'm able to put a coherent, you know, story together or several points together to make, you know, it makes sense. It's not just there to fill time. Each video has its own point.
Well, I was even telling Matt during your episode, Matt, you do a really good job of explaining what's happening so that way people can understand it. And I haven't spent a ton of time on your YouTube channel, but I can see how, you know, just breaking it down for the average person or for the farmer who's experiencing something similar and needs an idea or whatever. So,
no, well, you know, but at the beginning, Kelly and I always kind of felt that it was one of our callings in life to share what we do on the farm with the general public, because there is such a misconception about what goes on and the practices that we use and everything. And, you know, that was our first original goal, was to educate the general public, you know, hey, we're not trying to kill you. Hey, we do care about the environment. You know, we're doing the best job that we can. And it kind of morphed from that to when we go to different farm shows and stuff, we'd actually have farmers come up to us and say, hey, we really appreciate your videos. You know, I've learned, you know, such and such agronomically about this, and it helped improve our operations. So then I started including, you know, more of the technical stuff geared towards farmers. So we're still trying to educate the public, but at the same time, we're also trying to help other farmers who want to change their operation for the better. And we actually had I had one message on one video a couple of years ago from a guy in Africa, one of the third world countries.
Kenya.
And he actually left a comment that he really liked what I taught about regenerative agriculture, cover crops and everything, because he says they don't have access to that kind of information over there. And he was able to significantly increase his little community, his village's output by utilizing some of the stuff that I was teaching, even though they don't have access to like the equipment and stuff we use. So, you know, it's really stuff like that that's really kept us to grind the editing videos and put them out. And
I think it's all that 100%. I think it's also, we hear comments all the time of, oh, I remember on Grandma and Grandpa's farm, or I remember this. So I think that's why Farms of America has kind of latched on with the general public too, is people have that nostalgic feeling of like growing up, or at least going out on a summer or baling hay, or, you know, milking cows, or riding tractor with grandpa, or driving their first truck on the gravel road. And like the disconnection has grown more, not only from educational standpoint of, you know, the misconceptions that are out there, but then just the feeling of being in the country again. And I think people appreciate, you know, people like you kind of put that out there.
I think the general public, you know, got their picture in this mind that every farm, you know, it's got its nice little red barn, it's got perfectly straight fences, everything is, you know, mown and manicured, and, you know, where they see in the paintings and the photographs you see in the store, like they think that that's what a farm is, but, you know, nothing could be further from the truth.
You know, some are not, not usually
messy, everything else, and, you know, we need to. You know, we just want to educate the public.
Well, and I guess from my perspective is, I grew up in the suburbs of Chicago. So, farming was us having to drive 45 minutes west out, to see combines in the field. And even though my generation's not far removed from the farm, I still have tons of people from, back home that watch the YouTube or watch the History Channel or Farms of America. And they're like, wow, I didn't know farming was this diverse. I didn't know that, you guys have so much technology. And I mean, I'm like, you don't, basically, I had one friend said, I really thought farmers were just like 6th grade education and just went out there and did it.
Yeah.
I didn't realize, how much technology went into it. You literally
Technology, science. Yeah,
for sure. You need degrees out there. And I said, yeah, that's, it's more than just getting on a tractor every day. And
Well,
what was...
you need a business degree, you need a marketing degree, you need a financial degree, accounting for one.
Mechanical degree.
Yeah, you need a psychologist probably on the side too. A psychology degree probably most of the days.
Maybe the most beneficial one.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, when in your episode, we saw you guys experience a geomagnetic storm that took down your satellites. I mean, what a wild thing to happen super, randomly, like when they happen to be, shooting at your farm. So when I saw that, I asked Matt, I'm like, have you ever experienced that? And you had mentioned times when you thought that maybe that is what could have been at play, but you just didn't realize it. So I'm just curious, has that improved? Has that happened since then? And I just thought that was so wild that happened while you guys were shooting.
Actually, in the last year and a half since y'all have been here, I mean, we've actually been able to see the northern lights a couple times, which is never happened. But we haven't had any problems with satellites. It just always seems like that whenever camera crews show up to our farm, every day can be an adventure. So when the camera crews show up, it's like everything breaks loose, and we can count on seeing stuff we've never seen before. It always seems to find the cameras for whatever reason.
Like we always tell people, if something odd and unusual is going to happen, it happens to us. I mean, we even have mechanics who come out and go, well, I've never seen that before.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, welcome to our farm,
Yep.
I've never seen that break out before. I don't know
Speaking of things that are super rare on your farm, Matt, your combine accident, was really powerful. You guys sharing that story and everything. So I'm just wondering, physically, like, do you have any, lingering side effects from that? Are you feeling good?
It takes me a little bit longer to get out of bed in the morning. Other than that, so sometimes if it hurts for me to stand in one position for a long period of time just because there's still a little bit of issue with my back. But I mean, that also could be attributed to age. So, I mean, who knows? But no, nothing serious. We're actually still running that exact same combine.
Stop.
Those guys just got it washed yesterday about the shed, and it'll be ready to go for 2026.
Yeah.
Keep it rolling for sure.
Yeah, but along those safety lines, you were mentioning, all the different roles a farmer has to play. Safety is huge. And if you've been around farming long enough, people that have had, rough accidents out there. So did you guys have any like really good rules around the farm? I'm sure that experience kind of made you think twice about it, but with kids running around and, you're about to have grandkids out there a little bit more. So just as parents out there, like, how did you balance wanting your kids and needing them to help you with also trying to make sure everybody is, coming home for dinner safe and sound?
It's not just kids, it's also myself, because us as farmers, we tend to fall in the trap. Hey, I've done this job 1,000 times, and you fail to look at your surroundings and see what's different and how it might jump up and bite you. And you think we're always in a hurry or whatnot. And that's something that I've really had to do myself. Like the other, a year ago, we had a grain bin get clogged up, and I didn't think there was any problems with like it hollowing out underneath.
Yeah.
But I was about to climb in there. I was like, I need to go. There's probably nothing wrong, but I need to go put on a safety harness. And it took I went and bought a safety harness and rope and everything else. And it's just forcing myself to, before I take that step, hey, look around, look at my surroundings. Am I being safe? Am I doing what I need to do? Also with like Andy, you know, he's still a young man. He hadn't seen everything yet. You know, there's been several times that he's about to like work on something like, hey, we need to put a jack stand under there, you know, so stuff like that, just to make sure that we're safe. And even then, I mean, there's still hazards out there we're not going to recognize. It's still a dangerous job, but you know, we all try to look at each other, and then, you know, if we see somebody else, you know, cutting corners, say, hey, you don't do that. So
Speak up. Did you hear all that, honey?
Got it.
Did you get all that?
I take notes. Yeah.
Don't cut corners. If something doesn't seem right, go by the harness. Okay.
I need to stop on trees, probably.
That's hilarious because they can say that all the time. Yeah, like he'll be out there and like, hey, and he's like, don't, and you're caught up in the moment because you're thinking, I gotta get this done. There's rain coming, or you know, we're 4 days behind, and I'm like, just think about it before you do it. Yeah, and that's the one thing too is you are in a hurry. Especially during harvest, you get less sleep. So you have, you know, you're just tired and exhausted. Yeah. Before we bought the roller picker in 22, we were still doing it conventional with the baskets and, you know, the basket picker, and had 2 module builders out there. And at that point, you know, it was me, Matt, and our 2 young sons. And I was exhausted. We were working, you know, till midnight and getting up at 7 the next day, going out there. And I ended up being so tired and cutting corners and yelling at the kids that I shut my 2 fingers in the door of the module builder and sliced them off. So I had to go get them sewn back on, you know.
Pleasant. Yeah.
it was your fingertips.
The fingertips.
They're still her fingers, Matt.
I still can't feel that. But like, it's something so simple that you
No, but that's the example. That's exactly it.
Example.
Yeah.
You know, I was exhausted and tired, and I was really upset the kids were arguing over a sandwich, you know, and I'm over here trying to get everything ready, and I just was tired and my fingers got caught up in
Kelly. Yeah.
It's also a testament to not mess with farm wives, because they're always pretty tough.
They'll cut off your fingers.
Yeah.
Don't put your fingers in the wrong spot, guys. Kelly, do you... Go ahead.
I even went to work the next day. I was sitting in a thing, and then that was probably my biggest regret is when I was sitting there and I'm like, why am I out here? But you know, that's the big thing too, is I've noticed is the more tired you get and the more you have behind you, it's like, okay, yeah, you want to be out there. You're like, oh no, I'm gonna push myself till 1 a.m. Sometimes you just have to say, no, I need to go home. I need to rest and decompress. And I'm finding a lot of that within like some of my friends who are, you know, women farmers. They're like, yeah, I have to go home and then I have 6 more hours of work to do. And I'm like, why? It's going to be there tomorrow. Just, you need to get your sleep, because then mentally you're exhausted, physically you're exhausted. Mm-hmm. And yeah, like especially this year has been more mental, physical than me.
Yeah. Kelly, you are touching a chord with me, because that work is always going to be there. No matter how much you get done today. Do you ever play the Pretend It's Raining game? I love that game.
You don't play that game at all.
Tell me what that is.
The Pretend It's Raining game. So when...
It's not a real game. I don't know. It's not even a game.
I tried to play this game. You don't always play along, but if there's something that really life should matter more, you know, than what's ever on the list at the farm, you know, I'm like, just pretend it's raining. Okay? For tomorrow or whatever. So, you know, I've spent a lot of Mother's Days alone sometimes, like when the kids were little. Now we can just kind of go with the flow. They're a little bit bigger. But when they're really little, like I would spend a lot of Mother's Days, you know, by myself, because that's crazy planting time. And I would just be like, can you just pretend it's raining today, please? Can we just pretend it's raining?
No, I don't think we...
And he doesn't give in very often, but it is a reminder of, you know, if you couldn't work today because there was something if something was broke down, or if it was raining, you know, you'd stop for a minute and do something else, either with the family that's important, or celebrate somebody's birthday, or do whatever. And you do a really good job in the grand scheme of things of finding that balance. But sometimes I just want him to pretend it's raining.
That's really good. I like that.
And unfortunately, kind of the way my mind works is like I'm always constantly I'm trying to get ahead, and I think, well, if I work 1 more hour a day and I get this done, then I won't have to do it later in the week or next week, and then, you know, things will start to slow down. But unfortunately, I found, you know, there's always that next thing that has to be done. There always will be that next thing that has to be done, and it's just, I'm driven to succeed. I'm driven to get ahead. I'm driven to make things easier in the future. But no, I've been doing this for 21 years now, and I've come to realize you can do a good job, but you'll never necessarily get ahead. I don't really know how to put it, but you probably understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well, I think with your mindset too, Matt, you always have like kind of a new idea or something else, like even the, posting YouTube videos, learning how to edit and shoot and all that. Like you wouldn't have to do that. And some people wouldn't, but you're built and you're wired to sort of always having something on the back burner that really you could move up to the front burner. So I think it's how you're wired, probably a little bit of it, but I think it's awesome. And, your kids are lucky to have that example. And it's probably why you've been able to keep the farm successful, and you'll be able to, send it into the next generation because of that work ethic too. So yeah, it's cool.
We have a puppy who's an Aussie, and she's got an attitude ready. So
the next
gotta love a puppy. It's like having an infant again.
Oh yeah, we have a toddler right now. It's
Yeah, I have no idea why she wanted to go through this again.
Because they're so cute.
People have the empty nest thing. I'm like, oh God, Carter's leaving in a year, and I need a best friend, and
I need a puppy.
So it's like, well, get me a little tractor buddy. Guess what? He loves her just as much.
Yeah. We always put up a rough start, but we fall in love too.
Yeah.
We're going to rapid fire some questions at you. At all the crops you grow, easiest to grow, hardest to grow?
Cotton is hardest to grow. Soybeans is easiest to grow. Or maybe it's wheat. Well, either soybeans or wheat is the easiest to grow.
No, I'm going to say soybeans is the easiest and cotton is by far the hardest.
Yeah, and I can see that. I'm so unfamiliar with cotton, but
cotton's the easiest. Soybeans.
Do you have to?
Opposite.
Is it
Cotton's
pretty?
the hardest. Soybeans the easiest.
Who'd I ask this? Oh, I asked the Montana wheat. Fungicide issue. I mean, do you have to spray fungicide quite a bit on cotton, or like what's the management practices of cotton throughout the growing season?
As far as fungicides, no. Maybe once every few years, I might need to spray a fungicide for target spot, but generally, fungicide does not give you any kind of ROI, not like it does in soybeans and corn. But what makes cotton so difficult is that it needs constant attention. It's not like corn, which, once you get done with your side dress fertilizer, you might have to make one more application of a fungicide the rest of the season, and then every other weekend, you go to the lake. Cotton, from the time it's planted until the time it's harvested, we're usually making at a minimum one trip through the field every 2 weeks. Sometimes it might be multiple trips in a week because insects can be such a problem in cotton. Weed control is more problematic in cotton. So it needs constant attention, and we employ a crop scout specifically for cotton because he has to go out there once every week, see what kind of pests are in there, see if it meets the threshold to spray for them or whatnot. It requires constant attention.
Yep, gotcha.
Wow, what's your next one?
It's probably the most expensive crop then, probably cotton.
I'd say the cotton and corn are pretty close to even as far as cost. Corn requires a lot more expense in fertility than what cotton does, whereas cotton requires a little bit more expense in herbicides and definitely a lot more expense in insecticides and harvest aids.
And I saw you playing cotton in the episode. What population are you trying to put down for cotton? Just out of curiosity.
Well, when we're planting 37,000 seeds per acre. Cotton comes in a 230,000 seed per bag count, and usually runs between around $600 and $700 per bag of cotton seed.
Yep. No, I know. I'm a farmer dealer for Beck's hybrids, so I have a little bit of understanding of pricing and how sticker shock can be that. But I think that's always, and you guys did a great job saying that too in the back of the truck, like how much that costs, and for the general public to see that and cue that in and start doing the math pretty simply of whatever that 210,000 seed bag divided by what it costs, it's is a pretty big expense for us all. And that's kind of, seed is rising, and then fertilizers obviously are something that we gotta put the pen to the paper quite a bit. So
kind of starting to wrap up, guys. I know you mentioned the canola was something, coming down the pike. Is there anything else that, maybe didn't get covered in the show, but anything that's changed or been different since it aired that you guys want to give us an update on your farm or what's coming next?
Well, what we didn't mention is that since 2015, we actually have I guess you could say agritourism on our farm. It's actually called the Zombie Paintball Trail and Corn Maze. So that started, and we just went at the corn maze for fun, and it's at night and it's just a challenge. But we're just the landlords in it. It's friends of ours that own it, and this year was our 10th year. And he loves going out there. It's,
and it's all that we got three separate have fall or Halloween attractions out there on our farm that, we're the landlord and we help out with, but we got like a haunted, a system of haunted cabins that people can walk through. So really, really scary, really aggressive. So that kind of fits one group of people. And then the Zombie Trail Paintball, where you ride on trailers towed behind a tractor through a mile-long trail in the woods. And each seat on the trailer has its own fixed paintball gun. We've got
that's awesome.
We got black lights on the trailers, and all of the scenes are painted in fluorescent paint. The paintballs are actually fluorescent also, so you can see your paintball going towards your target. And
that sounds like a blast, dude.
And then that's geared more towards family, kids, and everything else.
Sounds like my 10-year-old son's dream birthday party.
I mean, we've had former Army Rangers come out with wads of cat. They're like, hey, we're about to blow these guns up. We're going to pull the trigger so fast.
Oh my gosh.
The little kids also love it too. So, and
there's real live zombies, meaning teenagers in suits out there. So and they
really, you're shooting like live people too. Oh, love it. Dude, I'm all in.
Guys, that is so creative.
Is there a CO2 like tank on the trailer with the guns that are feeding all the separate guns?
Air.
Yeah, like the tanks look like your acetylene and oxygen tanks on your torch. We got two of them mounted to each trailer that supply all the air for the night.
Oh, I gotta get our fab guy going. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. We've got kind of some of the agritourism going as well in the fall with the pumpkin patch and everything. But man, you guys just gave us some cool ideas.
Well, we've always hesitated on doing like the haunted maze just because.
Yeah.
Time is one thing and trying to plan it.
Right. But I think what we share is the idea of opening up the farm, getting people that want to be able to spend a little time out on a farm, whether they're having fun shooting paintballs or picking pumpkins or, even, virtually checking in on your YouTube page, just the passion for being open to bringing people in, and bringing people along. So you guys are doing a great job with that. Thank you for joining us today and for answering a bunch of questions from us. It was a lot of fun to catch up with you guys. We loved your episode. They're on YouTube now, so they're even easier to find. So Ragan and Massey's YouTube channel, and just search Farms of America. So we really appreciate your time today, you guys.
Well, thanks. We appreciate the opportunity to visit with y'all today. We appreciate the opportunity to appear in the episode. And if there's anything in the future that we can help y'all out with, you know where to find us.
Keep up the great work and hopefully catch some moisture here over the winter. So, all right, guys, thank you.
Thank you. Ragan and Massey's Farms of America podcast, brought to you by Ragan and Massey. Visit the Ragan and Massey YouTube channel to watch the show.